get on the summit waiting list. It's going to be this September in Dallas, the 19th through the 21st. Here's the speaker lineup. We got Danny Morrell from Relentless Coaching and Relentless Events and Intero Real Estate. He's going to be there, $1 billion in sales last year with his company. We've got Joshua Smith, for you guys know him over at GSD Mode, $300 million in sales with his team per year, and an amazing coach and trainer and a friend of mine. We've got Ricky Caruth, does $1 million a year in commissions out of Alabama, over 100 units per year with 0 to diamond. We got Brian Casella. He is social media influencer and real estate badass himself. He's going to be there. Chasten Miles, who is crushing it with YouTube and growing his business and helping us there in Dallas. And then we're going to have some panels with Nick Good. We got Matt Kelderman. We got Brian Forrest, and another panel that we're putting together as well. They do over 300 home sales a year together as well. So let's get Shon on. Make sure to click that link. Get on the wait list. Shon, I'm going to bring you on the camera, my man. Shon, can you hear me?
Hey, I can. Yes, fantastic. How you doing?
I love my life. Thank you so much. Hey, let's get into this. So you told me over 4,000 homes sold, $1 billion in sales volume. You were the president of MAPS Coaching, and you're the founder of Icon Coaching and the author of the SOAR program. Is that right? Did I get all that in there?
That's right. Yes, the SOAR training program, guys. It's taking North America by storm. It's an acronym, stands for Success Other Agents Realize. So really, it's based in the proven best practices. So it's not only my team's 4,000 sales. It's all of the hundreds of coaching clients that we've got here. And it's really based in what is working in today's real estate economy and marketing tactics, strategies, techniques that are going to increase your production and profit. In fact, it's 4 full days of presentation that's completed over a 28-day period. Now, the average agent in just 28 days does 8 new contracts, including buyer agency, listing contracts, and properties placed under contract in Antonio,
How many
Texas,
of you guys
a couple of weeks ago. They
8
ended up at
deals
14.2 contracts in just 28 days. Yes, sir.
So here's what I'm going to do,
Yes,
because that's a lot of information coming with these guys. So here's what I want to back up, okay? So in 90 seconds, give us the 90-second version of how you got started and where you're at today in business.
Well, I got licensed when I was 20 years old, and I got to tell you, I didn't know much. I had a solid work ethic, and I just ground it out. And within 18 months, though, as a buyer's agent on the team, probably one of the first buyer's agents, I was closing over 100 buyer side transactions per year with one assistant, and ultimately did take over the team after being a listing specialist for a couple of years, and then successfully exiting that team by selling that organization. Now that was after, though, I started a mortgage company, which seemed like a natural line extension, then a title company, and then a land development company, and ultimately a home building company. The idea was 6 income streams on one transaction, right? Where I got paid when I represented the development company as the Realtor. I got paid when we got our entitlements and pulled curb, gutter, water, sewer in place, and we sold the lots to the builder. Of course, we collected a supervision fee through that process and made more money that way. And then whether it was pre-sold or not, the real estate company listed it. The mortgage company provided the financing, the title insurance provided the insurance, and everything we did was above $1 million. So chances are the buyer of our property had a home they needed to sell. So the cycle started again for the real estate company, the mortgage company, the title company. And man, I got to tell you, it worked. It worked really well until 2008, right? So it was rags to riches. And, you know, I got caught with 16 land developments, over 100 homes under construction, a $5.5 million restaurant that I'd built, a series of car washes in the Denver market, and everything just fell apart, man. I mean, the wheels came off. And so I had to kind of reinvent myself through this process. Now, considering what I'd completed in real estate, I was asked to be on the stages of, NAR and many state associations, as well as companies like iReal, Gary Keller with Keller Williams, Remax, Century 21s, name them. I was presenting about 200 days per year. And, after the market crashed, I said, where did I find the most fulfillment? And it was really adding value to people, seeing them, increase their career's trajectory, their production, their profit, to really drive the cars they want to drive, live in the houses they want to live in. And so I consider that to be my purpose on the face of this earth, is to save people from that terrible financial downturn that I personally went through, and ultimately just increase their career's trajectory. So that's what Icon Coaching is all about, to help people, with the proven best practice, get the traction that they deserve in this business.
So let's pause for a second. I just want to, first of all, appreciate you, right? Like, I don't know how my life keeps getting blessed to just like
have conversations with people like you. Like, I don't even know how this conversation is happening, but it is. And I'm very, very grateful for it, because when I do these interviews, I think I learn as much or more than the people that listen to it. So thank you for being here, because I know I'm going to learn a lot from you. So how did you get into real estate? You were 20 years old. How did you even get into real estate? Why real estate?
Well, first off, my mother, who's a powerhouse of this industry,
Mm-hmm.
I always said growing up, even though I was answering phones at her office when I was 16 and I was helping run errands, and I was her flyer distributor in her farm areas, me and my brother, we'd sit in her trunk and she would drive us around the neighborhood and we'd run up to the doors and put up flyers and all of that. And I always said, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to get into real estate. I mean, no way. I just rejected it. And then, I for my birthday present, my 20th birthday present, my mother bought me a real estate course to get licensed. And I did my first deal prior to getting licensed. It was back in the days of non-qualifying assumptions. Now this goes back a long ways away. I mean, this is 1990, and I was 18 and a half, maybe 19 years old, and I bought my first property on a non-qualifying assumption. I didn't have the job history, but I did have $4,000 that I'd saved up, and that's what it took to assume this person's mortgage. I didn't even have to qualify. They just signed the mortgage over to me. I took over payments, and I put in, new carpet. I painted the place, freshened it up with some new tiles, new countertops, and we put it back on the market. My fiance at the time, now my wife of 28 years, we put it back on the market about 90 days later. And, we're not even 20 years old, and we net $60,000 out of this one transaction. And back in those days, $60,000 was a lot of money. Today, it doesn't take you very far.
Yeah.
Yet it was a lot of money to us, and I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. And so I got my real estate license at 20, got into the sales game, and really was able to, through coaching, through being open to other perspectives of how to do this business, was able to really crush it in real estate sales, and just really blessed and grateful for everything that I've learned through this process.
Awesome. So gang, here's what I want to ask. How many of you guys know who Diana KoKoszka is? Put a yes in the comments, or have heard of Maps Coaching. I mean, Maps Coaching probably is the biggest coaching company in real estate today, if not close to it, I would imagine. And you were the president of that company for how many years?
Yes, sir. I was involved with that organization just under 5 years at that level. Prior to that, I was actually collaborating with Diana, writing the BOLD program, presenting the BOLD program, 3 to 4 cities every single week. Many of the listeners have probably experienced that program, and ideally, I was their facilitator of it. Yet, just a lot of fulfillment comes from that course in terms of mindset and just the personal growth that people go through. One of the BOLD laws is, your business is going to grow to the extent that you personally grow. And I got to tell you, those were probably some of the most growth years of my life, going city to city and helping people improve their income in the process. It was so much fun.
That's awesome. So guys, here's what I need you to do is I need you to turn your notifications on, and I need you to hit the share button, okay? Also put in the comments where you're from. We want to know where you guys are from, and make sure you check out that link at the WDR Summit coming up this September, the 19th to the 21st. So Shon, how many years have you been in the real estate industry now? What's that, like 50, 60, 70 years? 28 years.
Exactly.
Feels like
28 years. Now, right? It's more like 75 with the wind chill factor, but yeah, it's 28 years. So right. Good stuff, man. Learned a lot through that process.
I would imagine almost 33 decades. Here's one of the things that for me, I realized that there's 3 pieces. One is my business, one is my profitability or my financial freedom, and then the third is my personal fulfillment. I always tell people I was financially free at 31, miserable by 32, right? And so talk to us about this. Like, why do we see so many realtors having a successful business but still being broke, and how do they shift that? How do they change it to profitability versus just big revenues?
Well, first off, they're not holding their money accountable, frankly. They're buying leads thinking that that's the magic bullet. It's the easiest way to go about it. Most people want to choose the path of least resistance. So they have a couple of closings one month. They got a couple of $1,000s extra, and they decide, well, I'm just going to go out to Zillow or Realtor.com, and I'm just going to buy a bunch of leads. And of course, I'm going to convert them, and I'm going to get a return on the investment. Yet rarely do they come back to check, did I actually get a return on investment? Here's my input. Stop buying leads. Focus on listing lead generation. One of the reasons I decided to branch off and start Icon Coaching is because I saw people trying to build teams, and they were doing it in a way that it wasn't profitable. I'm sure they had $1 million in gross income, yet what was left over at the end of the day, they couldn't even pay their taxes on April 15th, for Christ's sakes, because they weren't holding their money accountable. One of the biggest challenges I see is that how they're compensating their teammates. They're taking all the risk. I say compensate your people based on results, not hourly or salary. And they're saying, well, how do I find people to do that? Well, you've got to create your value proposition. You've got to, show them that you can train them on how to be successful. I mean, let's face it, the attrition rate in real estate today, well, it's over 70% after a 3-year period. It's darn near 80%. So you have a 1 in 5 shot of making it 3 years in this industry, really? Well, I think it's because people are going about it the wrong way.
Let me back something up, because you said you got to have the skills to train these people. And you said something at the beginning of this podcast is you kind of grind it out. And I really love the word grind, but what I hear you say is like, listen, I had to go to fucking work and I had to do the deals. I had to make it happen. So 2 questions is, one is, how do you get that hunger, the inside of you to just go do the work? And number 2 is, what do we need to do before we can go train? What skills do we need to learn before we can go train and hire and build a team?
All right, so first, how do you get the passion? For me, it's maybe different than a lot of people on this call. I'm motivated through the contrast, quite frankly. It's not about what I'm gonna gain. It's about what pain can I eliminate by doing this, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, if I don't lead generate every day in this business, then I'm gonna wind up broke. And if I'm broke, I can't make my car payment, I can't make my house payment, the car's gonna be repossessed, the house is gonna be foreclosed. And that contrast is what really motivated me. In fact, every morning I would get up, I'd be getting ready for the day, and I'd say to myself in the mirror, I'd say, Shon, you're unemployed until you can find a buyer or seller who's willing to sign an agency agreement with you. And I made that the number 1 priority. And the bottom line is this: those that take care of their own priorities first are the ones that are going to win this game. Now, your priorities as a realtor are really simple. There's just 5 things. That's it, just 5, okay? I mean, sure, there's 1,000 things you could do. There's 5 things you should do. First, it's to practice your skills every day. Your objection handlers, your scripts, your dialogues, to be able to speak articulately to people, to demonstrate that you've got confidence, critical. So practicing your skills, number 1. Number 2, lead generation. Every single day, guys. I'm talking about calling expireds for sell by owner, circle prospecting, your personal sphere of influence, business to business prospecting, whatever modality you want to use to increase your lead flow. Think about it. Your phone doesn't cost you a cent. Well, sure, it costs you a couple of cents, but
you're going to have it.
Totally different.
Everyone's got a phone, right? Like everyone's going to have it, even if they're broke. You've got a phone today.
So better way to say that, no additional expense, right? So to lead generate every day, then of course, lead follow-up. I mean, the fortune is in the follow-up, and thanks to the digital marketing revolution today, leads, buyer and seller leads, have now developed the ability to self-identify way too early in this process. Meaning they wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, they fill out some web form on Zillow. Next thing you know, the realtor gets some email that they've got a lead. And the realtor's all excited. Guys, they're not a lead at all. They're not even a prospect. They're more of a suspect at this phase. So 2 distinct phases, thanks to the digital marketing revolution, right? The first bucket would be the dreaming phase. They're just dreaming about it. They're thinking about it, right? They're thinking about buying a home or listing theirs and buying another one. And yet they're identified, 18 months, 2 years early. So the challenge is, if we ignore them during the dreaming phase, they're going to ignore us when they get to the second phase, which is the buying and listing phase. So having your technology set up and the leverage points there through automation to nurture these prospects through the sequence is absolutely critical. If you're using an Excel spreadsheet to track the leads, stop that. Don't go 1990s on me, right? Seriously, get a powerful CRM tool and know how to use it. The part of the other challenge is that people get a CRM, they're paying for this platform, and they only know how to use about 3 to 5% of the capabilities of the program. It's those that really invest the time to learn how the system works who can effectively manage the system, right? So whatever it takes to train yourself to be able to use those tools, the technology is a massive leverage point for our industry, right?
So let's pause, because I know you can keep going. I want to hold on. First, I got to plug Mojo Sales, because I love Mojo. Go to Mojo. They're great CRM, right? But you're talking about, listen, you got to create a network, a database. And I want your feedback or your take on this, Shon. Several years ago, I attended a production retreat at Mike Ferry event. He said, listen, 25% of your business should come from your database, your SOI. 75% should come from like FSBOs and expireds. And it like blew my mind. Like, wait a second. What I hear you saying is like, maybe we should be building a database and having a way to maintain it and stay in touch with them during this dreaming phase. Am I making this up, or tell me about this?
No, that's exactly right. Recognizing that once a lead is identified in today's world, they're probably 12 months out. And if you ignore them when they're just thinking about it, you're not going to develop the ability to position yourself in their minds. Now,
wait.
first rule of positioning is consistency.
Hold on. So you mean if they don't answer after 3 calls or 3 rings, I shouldn't throw that lead away forever?
Well, that's what most of them do. In fact, Top Producer did a case study for all of us, guys. Now tune in, because what they did is tracking through 5 Street and the number of leads that they were providing to realtors. What they found through this case study is the average agent attempted to reach the lead just 1.2 times on average. Now, in the same case study, they suggest that if you attempt to reach the prospect 6 times over a 6-day period, then your ability to convert them from a prospect to a client increases by, hear this, 900%. 900%. And yet we all have this inner voice. I call it MIC, M-I-C, stands for my inner cynic, right? The my inner cynic voice is telling you, don't call them again. You just called them yesterday. Or don't call them again this afternoon. You just tried them this morning. Don't you dare send that text. Wait a couple of days, right? You're going to look desperate. Don't listen to that inner voice. Just keep being consistent in your lead follow-up. Once you get them on the phone, find out what is their plan. How can you help them solve whatever problems they have in front of them? And of course, sharpen your skill through practice. So let me get back to those 5 things. I forgot that I kind of went off on a tangent there. I apologize.
Go.
Practice,
I
lead generate,
interrupted
lead
you.
follow-up. And when you do, no problem. When you do those 3 things right, you guys, the natural byproduct is the next 2 things on what I deem your 20% job description list. And that's more appointments to go on and more contracts to negotiate, right? So the first 3 things: practice, lead generate, lead follow-up. Consistency is the key. And when you do those 3 things right every day, the next 2 things: more appointments, more contracts to negotiate. Simple as that.
Guys, I'm just going to tell you, that whole thing as far as your follow-up in 6 days, and I know this is a free podcast, but that was worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to your future income. Like that piece of this podcast, I want you to pay attention to that. So let's dive in, Shon. When we're creating this network, this database, what do these guys need to be doing? What do we need to be doing to nurture these leads over the dream phase, the 18-month period?
Well, first, I think a lot of people don't bring intentionality to the size of database that they want. Now, the research that we've done when I was back with Keller Williams in the writing and rewriting The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they suggest that for every 12 people in your database, there's 2 deals to be had. Okay, meaning, and the reason it's a 12-to-2 ratio instead of 1 and 6 is because one of those leads is going to be somebody actually in your database that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Another one of those leads is that they know somebody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So I think first, setting goals as to how large you want this database to be, and then identifying the strategies and tactics on how you're going to build it. So I'll just give you, because I wanted to really make some of these points actionable, something that you could implement and deploy immediately in your business. I'm going to suggest that, business to business prospecting for agents is really underutilized. I could probably imagine that there's probably only a handful of agents in whatever market area you're in that agents actually take this seriously. Meaning when you think about business to business prospecting, I want you to think about networking and creating networking relationships with what I deem linchpins within your community. I'm talking about CPAs, trust attorneys, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys for that matter, painters, whatever industry that you can possibly think of, the beauticians, barbers. I mean, these people have hundreds of people in their chair every week, and they have to have something to talk about. If somebody's going to get into real estate or they're thinking about selling or buying, chances are their beautician or their barber is going to know before a real estate agent does, right? So yeah, let's just take like a painter, for example. If you use this simple little script that I'm going to share with you, it's for every contact you make, you're liable to schedule 1 appointment. So about 100% conversion rate, okay? So it's really simple. And let's just assume that I'm going to call a painter, okay? See, if I were to list my home, first thing I would probably do is contact a painter and just say, hey, I want you to do a little touch-up paint, because, I mean, every house needs a little touch-up paint, right? And I'd probably describe to the painter that I was thinking about selling my house. So understanding that, I might call you up out of the blue and just say, hi, it's Shon KoKoszka over at XYZ Realty. Hey, I found your contact information on Yelp. I see that you got a whole bunch of positive reviews there. And as a full-time professional realtor in our market area, I'm sure you can imagine that from time to time, I come across prospects, clients, and past clients that are in need of a great painter. Let me just ask, are you taking new clients at this time? To which they always say what?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, perfect. So tell me, when can I meet up with you just for 5 minutes? Maybe I buy you a cup of coffee or something like that. I want to just meet you. I want to collect some of your promotional materials. I mean, perhaps we could be of assistance to one another. Is it usually mornings or afternoon?
Usually afternoons
and then
for me.
Yeah, so you set the appointment, you keep your promise, just 5 minutes, right? You collect their promotional materials, you share some of yours with them, get their cell phone number, that's a critical step, okay? And then about an hour after the meeting, I want you to send them a text saying, it was such a pleasure to meet you today. Thank you for your time. I really look forward to networking with you. To which they're gonna respond, I look forward to networking with you too. And then a couple of days later, I'm going to follow up with them by phone again. I'm going to say, hey, I want to let you know I've got your promotional materials. I've copied them. I added it to my listing presentation, my buyer presentation, and our vendor list here. And I've got my eyes open for you. So I'm just curious, who do you know right now who's looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate that I could call today?
Awesome.
So see, you're putting the wood in the furnace first. You follow me? You can't kick the side of a wood burning stove and say, hey, give me heat and I'll give you wood. No, you got to put the wood in first. You got to ignite it. You got to make it burn with just white heat intensity. And that's how you create relationships in the business to business capacity. And before you know it, you start getting multiple referrals from this networking group that you've created. Now, there's nothing that says you can't have 10 CPAs in this networking group, right?
Yeah.
And frankly, with the new tax reform, chances are a home seller is going to contact their CPA and say, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Is there any negative ramifications from the IRS with the new tax reform?
Right.
So bottom line is find them before they find somebody else.
That right there, money, guys. Here's what's important. Number one, you got to be setting appointments every week. Number two, you got to improve that skill set, the ability to communicate, sales and leadership. But three, you got to be growing your network. We got to be growing our network, right? And then let's talk about how do we just keep continuing to, after we put people in network, how do I keep those relationships fresh? Am I just calling them? Am I doing anything else for them? What are we doing here?
Oh, I mean, it's a consistency around how you're going to communicate with them. And there's so many different ways to communicate with people today, right? I mean, you've got your social media and to hit them up with instant messages and text messages, video messages, emails, telephone calls. I mean, direct mail. I think you've got to utilize every facet that's available to you to make certain that you're positioning yourself in their mind. By the way, one of my favorite books on marketing is that book, Positioning by Trout and Rice. And what was written back in the 1970s, guys, these principles apply today, even with social media and digital marketing, they apply today just like they did back then. And it's my Bible as it relates to marketing. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to pick that book up. Yet the first rule of positioning is consistency. You can't just disappear for 3 months and expect them to remember your name.
Consistency is kind of that rule in everything, right? Consistently lead generate, consistently show up, consistently work on your business, consistently drink smoothies, consistently go to the gym, everything's about consistency, right? So today,
that's exactly right.
Guys, we have the ability, if you're collecting their information, Facebook and Google are amazing because now all of a sudden I can upload that, create a targeted audience, and for video view, 10 cents or less, we can get views of these people checking out your message during their dream stage on their cell phone at 2 in the morning when they're going to the bathroom, at 4 in the afternoon when they're going through Wall Street Journal, whatever it is, people are addicted to their phones and you can get in front of them for very inexpensive. Let's talk about the messaging that you're keeping in front of these people, whether it's through a postcard, through digital marketing. What is the messaging that we're delivering to this network?
I think first it starts with a sincere desire to earn their business, and every one of these points of communication should have something in there or on there that tells them how they can send you referral business as well, and just how easy that actually is. So I think it's essentially at Keller Williams we developed the 33 Touch program. So it's a series of telephone calls. I would recommend at least one call to that database every single quarter. Now, the challenge in that is that people say, yeah, that's a good idea. They write it down, they add it part of their business plan. Then it's March 31st, the last day of Q1, and they're like, crap, I have to call 2,000 people today, and it's not going to happen. So to break it up and approach that more systematically, meaning there's 26 letters in the alphabet, right? There's 52 weeks in the year. If you do the math on this, you'll see that I'm right. If you just took 2 letters of the alphabet every single week, meaning if your last name begins with A or B, well, I'm going to call you this week. If it begins with C or D, I'm going to call you next week, E and F, and so on and so forth. And when we follow that very little simple system, you break it down into bite-sized pieces, then you will have reached out to everybody in that database once per quarter. It's really that simple. So telephone is always going to be your best bet. I mean, I've never sold a house for somebody or sold a house to somebody without having a conversation. So the bottom line is the people who are really crushing it have just figured out how to give an inordinate amount of time to the 5 things that I told you about earlier, right? Lead generate, lead follow-up, practicing your skill, and of course, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. So I call that the 20% work, by the way. And I'm referencing Pareto's principle here, the 80-20 rule, meaning 20% of your actions in real estate will yield a minimum of 80% of your results. And again, it's those that have figured out how to give an inordinate amount of time to the 20% work, delegating the 80% stuff to somebody else. Those are the ones that are really getting on, which, by the way, leads me to a point I want to bring up, because a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between Icon Coaching and MAPS Coaching, or Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry or Brian Buffini for that matter? And really the difference is here, because I was president of MAPS Business Training, and I consulted with companies like McDonald's and FedEx and Panasonic and Sport Clips and T-Mobile and Genentech and about 1,000 others you've never heard of. I learned a lot about business models and business development, specifically about compensation models. So while people say don't develop a team, you'll go broke in the process, they're just doing it wrong. Guys, I've figured out the secret sauce, and that is the major point of differentiation to Icon Coaching, is that we take those individuals who want to build a business instead of just increase their personal production. And transactional income is great. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. Yet the challenge is, if you want to go to Europe for 2 months, you're not making any money in the process, right? So to leverage models, systems, technology, and people to truly own a business, that's what Icon Coaching does with our clients, is that we help you identify the next best practice step to take to really build a business instead of just increasing your personal production. Now, increasing your personal production is also the natural byproduct of working with Icon Coaching, yet we're going to get you there and we're going to help you do it with ease, and we're going to stop you from making some of those mistakes that many people make that cost them tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process.
I think what's cool too is because we hear a lot of people talk about, hey, you build this business, you create some freedom. I teach financial freedom. Your passive residual income pays for your desired lifestyle. And we often think it's about going to Italy for a couple of months, or going and sitting on the beach, or buying that Lamborghini, or whatever it is. However, guys, one of the things where this really comes a benefit is when your plan gets fucked up in life and you've got a medical thing you've got to deal with, or you're surprised they're going through a divorce, or you've got some stuff that you got to be really focused on your kids, these unforeseen things that weren't part of your game plan. That's where this business and owning the business and creating financial freedom will really benefit you. It's when you didn't plan on it that it really stands out.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, which is why I think that new EXP model, well, it's not so new yet. I think that's why it's catching on fire right now. I've never seen a company that has grown as quickly as EXP has, and it's because of that opportunity for agents to create residual income. So, I mean, two ways to think about this, right? You got transactional income, which is great, yet if you're not producing, you're not making any money. Residual income, well, that just shows up month after month like clockwork. And that EXP model, I got to tell you, I probably get 5 calls a day into our office, people asking about EXP and what's all the buzz, right? So what I did is I just put together a really simple system for agents to eliminate a lot of that benchmarking and trending and a whole bunch of Googling and researching and all that stuff. We've got a 7-minute video. If you guys want to watch this, I just encourage you to just take out your cell phone, just text EXP wealth, all one word, no space in between EXP and wealth, to 888-111. Just do it now. What we're going to do is you're going to immediately get a text back with a link to a short video. It's going to save you a lot of time.
I just love that embedded command. Do it now. And that was fantastic, John. So are you affiliated with EXP, by the way?
At certain levels, I coach a lot of their agents, no doubt about that. I present at a lot of their conferences, and they're a huge supporter of our SOAR program because of the results agents are getting from it. And yes, I mean, it's
my questions are you building residual income with EXP?
I am, and I'm helping others do the same. Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. That was my question.
A lot of others.
Awesome, man. Cool. So I think.
Yeah, you nailed me down on that.
I just want to know, right? Just to be transparent with where we're at with things. I mean, I think EXP is a great opportunity for a lot of people. I don't know if you know much about me. I was actually banned from the company at EXP, right? I was ready to move over there and ended up getting banned from the company, which here's the thing that I want guys to understand is residual passive income. There is an opportunity in EXP. I don't care if it's EXP. I don't care if it's building your business. I don't care if it's owning real estate. I don't care if it's being in the stock market or creating membership websites. The opportunities are freaking ridiculous right now, okay? What you have to be able to do is find a way to align with your values and do business there and grow and surround yourself around some amazing opportunity. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Shon. Thank you so much. So I want to shift gears a little bit before we have to wrap this up, because you said then 2008 came around. I got in business the fall of 2008. in 2000, fall of 2005, in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and were like my best years because I was so stupid that I didn't know what was going on. I just kept calling and prospecting when I couldn't figure out why agents were losing their houses and getting their cars repossessed. And these were, multi-millionaire developers going bankrupt, right? So talk to us about what you went through during that time frame and what you learned during that time frame, because it's only a matter of time till something comes at us again. So tell us what you learned about that.
Yeah, and I love that question, by the way. Thank you for asking it, because if this answer can save somebody the heartache that I had to go through, because I got to tell you, dude, it was 18 months, 2 years actually, of pure hell. Right? When you've got 16 land developments, over 100 homes under construction, all above $1 million, and you got buyers walking away from $250,000 earnest money deposits, yeah, it can get pretty dark and lonely and depressing and cold, right? So what I learned through this process is when you're investing in real estate, unless it's mainstream, rental property, the goal, by the way, is to get in and get out as quickly as possible. Okay, pay attention to what's happening economically. Now, the storm that hit us in 2008, to me, it seemed like it just came out of nowhere. However, if you go back and you do the research and you see what was actually happening, the writing was all over the wall. And so my input, just don't be greedy. Get to a position that you're playing with house chips as quickly as possible. Case in point, I was doing a land development in Golden, Colorado, and I had the home or the lot, or the land was under contract. I didn't even have to close on it. I had 6 months after getting entitlements to actually close on this piece of dirt. I was under contract for $3 million. And the day I got my entitlements, meaning I went to the hearing, we got our plans stamped and approved. One of my competitors, another developer, was waiting out in the lobby for me, and he said, "Hey, congratulations on getting that approved." I said, "Well, thank you. I'm really excited to get started." He said, "Shon, I know what you're under contract for, and I will double what you're under contract for. I'll write you a check for $3 million. All you have to do is assign the contract to me." And I said, "No," because I wanted the $8 million on the build out. And halfway through that development is when everything hit the fan. Even if I just sold him half the lots, I would have been playing with house chips. So, there's a lot of regret in that decision. There's no doubt about that. And I just say, get in and get out as fast as you can and start playing with house chips quickly.
So you mean house chips is with profit, playing with money you've made that is not everything you've got, so to speak. Right. Is that right?
Yeah. So meaning sometimes a half a piece of pie is better than a piece of pie, right?
Right.
Sometimes, because what you're doing in playing with house chips, like if you're in the development game, if you took off 50% of those lots, sold them off to other builders, you took that profit to pay off your land loan. Well, then you're playing with house chips, meaning you have nothing into it, you have nothing at risk, and all you have to do is be able to service the property tax associated with the lots to carry on. And had I done that, I could have weathered the storm rather than negotiating short sale after short sale after short sale after short sale, deed in lieu of foreclosure, whatever it took to get out from underneath this stuff. That's what it took. And by the way, lost everything in the process, man. Everything.
Guys, how many of you guys remember 2008? Actually, it was an amazing lesson for me, which was not near what you went through. I was early 20s, and I built a spec home for $350 and sold it for $280. And I was so lucky. CTX Mortgage did a one-time close with me at the time, and they were going under. They ended up writing it off. I sold it on a lease purchase to someone because I had a certificate of occupancy. Never made one payment to the bank. It was like a 100% financing deal. I ended up still making 20 grand on the deal. It's like the craziest thing, but it taught me, listen, dude, you better know what you're doing and not be just risking everything you got, especially you go later on in life. A book I recommend to everyone with operating your business is called Profit First. Manage your cash flow. You've got the number one expense for your life and your business is your profit. Pay yourself first mentality with your morning routine, with your health, with your relationships, and especially with your finances and your business. Stop taking the crumbs. Start eating up front, and then take your investments and go on from there. So where are we at with today's market? Someone asked, do you think that's happening in today's market, Shon? Well, before we go there, actually, where were you emotionally during that time frame?
It was dark, dude. It was really bad. It was lonely. I had a couple of partners that immediately claimed bankruptcy, left me holding the bag, and I just worked all through all that stuff. And it was tough. It was lonely. It was depressing. I was adding up life insurance policies saying, would my family be okay if I weren't here? You know what I mean? And really what saved me is just recognizing that I've been blessed with the ability to help others. So that really became the driving force of my life. It became the purpose, right? It's the reason I'm still above ground. You follow me? Is to be able to to help others achieve the financial freedom that they're after. And so my roles as being a bold coach and joining Keller Williams first as the VP of growth, and then being promoted to president, and then MAPS business training, that all stemmed from my personal why, to really help people find that fulfillment within their life, and leveraging business to make that happen. So, we've invested tens of thousands of hours in model development for realtors to help them really build a business in this industry instead of just focused on personal production. So guys, if you're interested in learning more about what that looks like, same number, the 888-111. If you want to just send a quick text, just type in the word discovery this time, discovery, to 888-111. And that'll send you back a scheduling link to my schedule. And we'll just get on the phone. We'll have a quick conversation about whether or not Icon is a good fit for you. And I'll share with you the specific proven methodology to show you how you can build a business. Okay, so cool. Take advantage of it.
So here's what I want to look at, guys, is because I was 31 and financially free. And by 32, I was miserable. I remember, Shon, I was driving to listing appointments in my late 20s, smoking a joint. Like, I was getting drunk at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. That's how and I didn't go broke, right? So my point is we have these negative emotions. How are we processing? And this is one thing that I don't see in the real estate industry today, is teaching people how to literally deal with the stress and the anxiety and the worry and the doubt. Some of it is creating amazing systems and models, but some of it has to do with our management of our psychology and our emotional state. I'm so passionate about that, guys. Please let me help you in any way. Shon, I can't tell you how many, the more I've opened up to people, I have regularly people, real estate professionals making $500 million a year saying, dude, I got to go into rehab. Dude, I'm taking 5 to 10 oxy a day right now. Dude, I got a problem with this. Dude, I got a problem with that. And I'm so, in fact, Danny Morell just popped on. He just came back from an experience. Do you know Danny Morell, by the way?
I know the name.
Dude, you got to meet you got to meet Danny Morell. His company did $1 billion in sales last year with Ontario Real Estate. He owns Relentless Events. He's got Kobe Bryant speaking events. Super cool
right
guy.
On. Yes. Okay. Now I'm connecting. Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
So
yes.
so he watch his social right now, because he's going from the head space to the heart space. This is what I want to impact more realtors with today, because of, like, you talked about that dark time, right? You're literally looking at your life insurance on, will my family be better off with me dead than alive, right? Like, there are so many people living in that dark space. I want to help people escape that. So let's move forward so we can wrap things up. I have one more question. I'm gonna really put you on the spot. Is that okay?
Go for it.
Okay. How has joining eXp Realty affected your relationships with people at Keller Williams? Because it seems like there's like a hometown feud when it comes to eXp and Keller Williams. Talk to us about that.
Hey, I love everybody. You know what I mean? I love every company. That I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody or anything. I just think you got to find the best model that's best for you. I think what eXp's created in terms of allowing realtors to create this reoccurring revenue stream. And by the way, the difference is revenue share versus profit share. Profit share to me is very subjective. And the market center might have a great month that month, yet the operating partner says, oh, we need new furniture, new copy machines, or let's get more square footage. And this profit that's supposed to be shared with the agents, well, it doesn't quite get to the agents because it's spent elsewhere. And that's the problem with profit share. Now, the reason KW has to do that is because they're brick and mortar. I mean, they've got many expenses. With eXp, it's a virtual environment. A virtual environment that really doesn't have expenses associated with it. So what eXp is able to do is share that revenue that they would have otherwise spent, to the regional directors, the operating partners, and spending all that money on brick and mortar and all the systems that come along with that. And they're able to then share it back with the agents. To me, the model works, and I've helped a ton of agents just create that monthly revenue share. Some of them in excess of, I'm going to say it out loud, some of them in excess of $300,000 a month. So
quite a bit of revenue.
If you guys are interested in that, again, just text eXp Wealth to 888-111. Watch that short little video. And then if you have additional interest, just reach out to me.
So here's what I want you guys to pay attention to is number one is get your question answered. Great salespeople get their questions answered. I asked him a question and he did great talking about eXp, which go check it out. Go check his information. I want to encourage everyone to do that. How did it affect your relationships with Gary Keller, with Shon KoKoszka, with these people that you worked very closely with? How did that shift? Because this is a very big shift. You went from like Keller Williams, very big company, 160,000 agents, EXP that's growing ridiculously fast. I mean, you're seeing the CEO and founder, the founder of EXP putting up Donkey Kong because Gary's calling him Donkey Kong. Like, how did this affect these close relationships?
Well, frankly, I don't know yet. So we'll see. This is all relatively new, and any big announcement hasn't been made outside of today. So
I want you guys to learn from Shon on his communication skills because they are fantastic, by the way. So thank you. I appreciate you so much for being here, man. Check out these links or these text messages that he said to go check out. You have to go rewind. Give your information again so these guys have it and they can check it out and get a real authentic feedback on it.
You bet. You can either just text EXP Wealth to 888-111 or Discovery if you want to talk about coaching and what that would look like for you to own a business in this space instead of just focusing on personal production. So it's Discovery to 888-111 or EXP Wealth, all one word, to 888-111. You can also find us online at iconcoachingrE.com. Or here's my personal email. Feel free to email me. It's shon@iconcoachingrE.com. Guys, it's my passion. It's where I get the most fulfillment is to be able to help you accomplish your goals in real estate sales.
Cool. Awesome. I appreciate you being here. I want to be very clear. I'm not personally affiliated with EXP. Shon is. Make sure you talk to him. I don't want any more people asking me about EXP because I have nothing to do with the company. Go to the people that are in the freaking company. Thank you so much, Shon, for being here. I appreciate you. We'll talk more to you soon. We'll see you later.
It's my pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, here's what I need you to do. I need you to click on this link I'm about to drop. It's WGRsummit.com. You guys need to show up. We've got 2.5 days. We're going from a level 1 to a level 5. I'm going to teach you step-by-step to identify where you're at and where to go. First to level 3, you're doing 40 deals or more every single year. Then we're going to take you beyond that, 7,500 plus deals a year. I'll give you an example. Shauna Overman. She's a great friend of mine. She's been in my programs for 3 years. She's on track for 180 units this year. She was on our Alliance call today. She's like, I can't even keep track of the amount of closings. By the end of June, I'll have somewhere around 80 to 85 closed transactions. Freaking ridiculous. 3 years ago, she was broke, doing less than 40 deals a year, financial shambles. 3 years later, her entire life has shifted. But you know what's her best thing she's discovered? More personal fulfillment. That's what I want for you guys. I do want to talk about a couple of things with Keller Williams and EXP because I wasn't planning on talking about this, but fuck, we're here, so I'm going to share on it. Number one is I totally agree with Shon on the idea of Keller Williams. I used to be with Keller Williams. I learned so much that I'm so thankful for the people there. But the one thing that irritated me is you had the investors never making money on the model. Why? Because also you had some key investors that owned the building. And so now all of a sudden expenses were going to benefit certain owners in the company, never benefited the agents. So your profit share, I had 56 people in my downline. I made $3,500 a year. I would have had a ridiculous downline at EXP. I'm not suggesting you go to EXP. Here's my concern with EXP. In fact, I would recommend if you want passive residual income, do not go to EXP if it's your main source because you have zero control of the outcome, right? Everything we got to do with our finances and our passive or residual income is about maintaining control. Number one, we got to have cash flow management. Number two, financial literacy. Number three, buy assets or create them. Number four, create tax-free wealth. Number five is have an asset tax plan, generational wealth plan. Number six is a financial blueprint and emotional state that's awesome around money. Okay, that's how you create this wealth and this financial freedom. The challenge is you're putting the outcome future financially into someone else's hands. Check this out. EXP is owned like 70% of it by two people. By two people. It's not an agent-owned company, number one. Number two is who knows what their model is going to do. Some of these guys are making $300,000 a month. Awesome. How are they spending it? We got to make sure that you're moving that money into something else that creates passive residual income. Too many people do this in our industry. They make a ton of money and they buy liabilities. Liabilities make us slaves to paying interest to other people. We want interest coming to us over and over again. So when the market shifts, who knows what's going to happen? If the margins dip down, can they continue? Do agents freak out when they can't sell homes? Do they go to other companies? I don't know, but I know that I'm not willing to put myself at that risk. The other thing is I think their fucking value system is so fucked up, right? Listen, this is our life, our show, our reality. Everyone that knows the WGR brand is about make a difference. That's what we stand for. That's what we teach our clients, our local real estate clients, our coaching clients, right? We are about making a difference. There is a new world of business going on. Older school business is not happening anymore. And then there's this new school of business, but there's space in between, like Ricky Caruth, like Danny Morell, Joshua Smith, like Brian Casella. We're seeing it expand more and more. It's where we're being our authentic self and we're honest with you guys. For too long, and you see this with a lot of people, even, and I'll bring this out with Shon, like he didn't even want to talk about his relationship with what's going on at Keller Wind. Dude was president of MAP's company, and I asked him a question, he avoided it, and I no offense to him because it's a sensitive subject, but let's get fucking authentic. Let's talk about the real shit in our lives, and let's stop dancing around with a fucking facade, a mask on, because it's my life, my show, my reality, and I need peace. I need tranquility. When we mask shit up, when we avoid shit, doesn't matter how much money we make or how big our business is. If we're suffering in the inside, that's our choice. Pain is guaranteed in this lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. Suffering is the choice. Now we got to end that suffering. You can do it by building an awesome business, creating cash flow, number one. Number two is manage that cash flow and creating financial freedom, number two. Number three is emotional state management to create personal fulfillment. That's what you're after. If EXP is a part of that, awesome. Keller Room is part of it, awesome. Intero, awesome. The WJR brand, awesome. But chase that and do it in this moment. Do it now. Thanks, guys. Go to the WJRsummit.com. We want to see you there. We'll be announcing ticket sales middle of June, only to the people on that list. If you're not on that list, you're not attending. I've already got somewhere around 500. We're limiting it to 500 tickets to the event. I've already got that many or more on the wait list ready to buy. We're limiting the VIP tickets to 50 people in the VIP section, okay? Plus my mastermind partners. So we've already got a bunch of those taken up. So you've got to be on that list. That's where we're announcing it, okay? We need you guys there if you want to be involved with it. If you're not there, I can't offer you the opportunity. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Appreciate you. Love you. We'll see you guys.